a book that Ian let me borrow called The Rise of Kyoshi, and it is a book about Avatar Kyoshi. And I'm enjoying reading it, and it's also making me mad at Korra again, because it's not The Rise of Kyoshi, and The Rise of Kyoshi does a much better job at making another story in the same world with a female avatar that isn't bad.
And it's the story of Avatar Kyoshi?
Yeah, it's Avatar
sick.
Kyoshi like three
Kyoshi
generations
Warriors.
before.
Yeah.
And it does everything that Avatar Korra said it was going to do, but it does it better, and it doesn't require steampunk or a stupid love triangle.
How dare Korra disappoint me like it did.
Yeah.
I liked the steampunk at the beginning.
That's okay. You're allowed to actually like that part of Korra.
The
That's the
aesthetic
part
of
you're allowed to
Korra
like.
was really good.
Yeah, it was.
It was really
It's just,
jarring.
like,
Until the big bad's big plan was a robot.
So I think the problem with the steampunk isn't bad. It's just that the original show established this entire world to tell stories in, and for the next show they were like, we're gonna change the world.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they did that. The world was there. Just pick another spot in it. Like, we already know
That's a good
there's
point.
been generations of avatars before that. There's 4 huge nations you've introduced us to where anything could be happening.
That's a good point. But they had to pick a new avatar.
They planned
There's so many avatars. There was a
Okay,
whole room full of
they
avatars.
technically
You
picked
know
the
that
same
like
world then.
there was a plan.
But they changed the world. They updated it. They changed it into a steampunk
Well, yeah, because
modern
they
day
had to
city.
pick a new avatar. You either have to go pretty far in the future or pretty far in the
But time
past.
technology doesn't change that much. You can go 2 generations back like they did in the book, and it's still basically the same thing.
I mean, you say that, but at one
There was
point
a
there was like
planned
literally
new
no
season.
technology, and then suddenly there was in real life.
You're right. This is nitpicking on, I guess, the setting, but I think the thing
That's
that
true.
it tells.
Korra is still bad.
The,
How dare
the
you
reason
make it?
the reason I feel like it's a problem is because they did that in lieu of making a good story. They didn't actually have a good story to tell,
Yeah.
so they updated the world so that was the new captivating thing. But they
Yeah.
didn't need to do that. The world was good.
I
Just
agree.
Tell another
Okay.
good story.
Okay, I feel
They
that point.
planned. They planned a new season of Avatar, or they planned a season of Avatar after the end of
Yeah.
Last Airbender that was still in the same. Like, it was literally a sequel
Yeah.
to
Yeah. I
Last
remember
Airbender that was just going to be like based. It was going to be like the main focuses were going to be like rebuilding efforts
that. Right.
with like Avatar Aang, and then also like a big chunk of it was going to be like Azula's rehabilitation and redemption.
Ooh. I don't think they need to redeem Azula.
Yeah, I wouldn't even. I'm glad they didn't do that either because I was happy where that story ended.
Yeah.
It's. I
It
think
can
That story didn't need
I think
to go
it
on.
Could work.
it could. I feel like there's so many different options, and the reason I'm kind of like stuck on that is because of the book I'm reading. Because they're introducing new stuff within the same world in the same way that the first show did. That just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And I think you would actually love it.
Yeah?
Because it's you talked about like exploring the darker areas of where that could go.
Yeah.
And I think they tried to do that with Korra because it was supposed to be older, right?
Yeah.
But this one actually kind of does because it's not on Nickelodeon. So like people die.
Sure.
It's like a thing that happens in the story.
Yeah.
But it's also things like in the original show, we don't get to see how the Avatar system is supposed to work.
Right.
Because it's been broken for 100 years, and then it's just this stupid kid
Yeah.
that shows up on his own and teams up with 2 other stupid kids.
That's true.
But in the way it's supposed to go is like the entire world looks for the new Avatar when they die because they're a big deal.
Oh,
And there's a
sure.
whole network of like teachers and stuff trying to find them.
Yeah.
So this book starts with people desperately trying. It's been like years and no one's been able to find the new Avatar yet. Mm-hmm. And so they finally find who they think it is. But it's not the right guy. And they train him for like 12 years, and then it turns out it's actually Kyoshi.
Oh my goodness.
And so it's this whole thing. and
Feminist icon.
And there's like, and there's they keep mentioning, because the previous Avatar was a guy named Kuruk, who was the waterbender, and you see him
Oh, yeah.
in the show sometimes when
Yeah.
it flashes back through like his most recent ones.
Like Rad Dude
he's,
Bro,
yeah,
right?
yeah, he's Rad Dude Bro.
Yeah.
He sucked majorly,
Oh,
and he made
no.
it, and he sucked so bad that he died when he was like 30 years old
That would
and ruined everything.
Explain. Wow.
Nice.
And so it's a really interesting like exploration of like the different versions of the way this whole thing works. And then the 2 main characters are, or at least like as it goes on, it's like it's Kyoshi and then her friend who's like a firebender girl.
That's
And,
amazing.
Would
and
it
it's
be
not a
worth
love
knowing
triangle.
the
Amazing.
It's just not stupid
So
tropes.
simple.
like? Would it be worth knowing like the what's his name? The fire avatar who is portrayed by Ozai.
The one before
Aang's
Roku.
mentor?
Yeah, Aang's mentor.
Oh yeah, Roku. Yeah.
Roku. Would that like be interesting at all as a story?
We already
like
heard most of his
we know
story.
the ending.
They actually tell it. Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
tell enough
we
of it in
actually
the
know
show.
most of his
that-
story.
I don't feel like that would be a good
They
one.
actually they tell kind of all of it, don't they? It's just it's just sort of quick.
It's truncated, but they pretty much tell the whole thing.
I'm
They
sure
start-
people would have preferred that over Korra because Korra sucks.
Well, I mean, a lot of people actually like Korra, but I think they're wrong.
So like
I think
Your
like
fun is
I
wrong.
think like 15-year-olds
Korra
and
has
under might like Korra.
Korra throws away great ideas.
Korra.
Yeah.
It's just like
If you're young, I think Korra probably works really well because the things that aren't good about it come with understanding writing and character development and ideas that could be that weren't. And I think that's kind of the problems with Korra. But if you just watch it, it's probably fine. Like if you're just watching it for
Ian's
funny and comedy and general.
it starts off
enjoyment.
with like these weird themes of like technology has surpassed the need for an avatar, and that's
Right,
interesting. Then
right.
it's like, oh no, that's not what we
yeah,
want to
that's
tell.
what it introduces a whole bunch of really kind of interesting ideas that it then doesn't follow through on.
And then it's just like
Yeah.
it's like, what about like Bender oppression and like these people like revolting and taking away bending? It's like,
good
oh,
idea.
that's sort of cool. I'm
Yeah.
into this.
Yeah.
And then like, no.
We're not gonna go that direction.
I think Ian's probably right in that Korra it's a decent show. It's just not Avatar, and because it says it's Avatar, it's more disappointing than it would have been if it was just
just-
like an independent show. That
I
came
just
out.
think it just like it backs out
You
of
just
all of
can't
its
remove
good
that from it.
ideas.
Yeah.
It backs out of all of its good ideas.
Yeah.
Like it's like you had it and they're just like no, that's not it. It's like literally a guy trying to write the next Avatar: The Last Airbender, and he just keeps like
erasing and starting
yeah,
over.
Exactly.
Nothing is more frustrating to me than Ian willing to give Korra a chance, but can't look past the chick in The Greatest Showman being a victim instead of a villain. That's a whole
Why
other
is that
story.
the thing you're comparing?
It's just like it's one thing that's never made any sense to me. Is like he can't get over like he can't humanize that woman, but he'll give Korra a chance. Can't do it. In The Greatest Showman, okay. In The
So
Greatest
my
Showman,
problems with The Greatest Showman are nothing
no,
about
that's
the
not where we're
story.
going. In the Greatest Showman, the Sparrow, is that her name? The singer, the opera
trapeze
singer?
artist.
No, the opera singer.
The one that like sings the song while all the
shine
freak
a
people
thousand spotlights.
all the freak people are like, why aren't we allowed inside?
Yeah,
Yeah.
her, the redhead.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, she does literally nothing wrong in the entire movie.
She does literally nothing.
She sings
Yeah, she does.
about wanting more out of her life.
Sure.
And then she falls in love with a man who leads her to believe that that's something she can do.
Right.
And then she's mad about it when he's like, oh no, that's not what I meant. The end. So that happens in The
Right.
Greatest Showman. Ian, for some reason, thinks she's like set out to ruin his marriage and it's the villain of the story. And I can't deal with that. That's all. I still remember it.
Oh.
I'll never forget it. But
He
here
put
he is
more
being like,
character-
Korra wasn't that bad.
He put more character into her than anybody wrote for her.
She had plenty. She
Of
had as much
great,
character
pretty
as
voice.
she needed.
Sure.
Not every character that comes into a movie needs a fully fledged backstory and like future promise.
You know nothing of Javert. I was born inside a jail. I was born with scum like you.
There's
I
other
am from
characters
the
in there that
gutter
aren't
too.
Javert that also don't get completely fledged out. Like the leader of the rebellion.
I actually love that entire
He
sequence
doesn't.
of lyrics.
He
though, so
doesn't
much.
have an entire backstory and future story. Still a good character allowed to exist. He's
What are you
fine.
talking about?
The leader of the rebellion.
Yeah.
Eddie Redmayne's friend.
Would you not fight for your right for a night at the opera now?
That's the boy.
The woman's name is Jenny Lind. by the
Jenny.
way.
That's right. Jenny Lynn.
Just in the
That's
the character
right.
name.
Red. The black.
How dare you not know the lyrics to one of the best songs in Les Mis? My
My
point is, if he can exist in Les Mis as a good
dawn.
character, Jenny Lynn can exist as a good character in The Greatest Showman. Boom. Oh,
Zac Efron does way better in that movie than I expected him to.
Zac Efron, Zac Efron's one of the best parts of that movie, dude. Go see The Greatest Showman. It's the greatest movie.
You know what?
you're just
it's
wrong.
not awful.
It's literally amazing.
For anyone who can't see, because you're listening on a podcast, me and Allison are currently holding
guns.
knives to Ricky's throat.
The bar scene is really good.
Yep.
Yeah, No, I think that's pretty that's pretty objectively great.
I can't even imagine complaining about The Greatest Showman.
I don't understand. I don't think you could choreograph anything better than step, step, stomp, step, step, stomp for every dance.
What are you talking about?
Greatest Showman.
Are you saying you didn't like the choreographing of that scene?
I'm just saying, I think that happens like in every group song that isn't the bar song. It's just like step, step, turn, step, step, stomp.
Oh, I see what you're saying. The Greatest Showman
at
is
the very-
bad because people dance.
At the very end, like I've heard complaints about The Greatest Showman, but at the very end of the
Have
movie,
you?
Yeah,
From anyone other than Ricky?
yeah.
Like what?
If people have complaints about it, just
Like
about it being
what?
like that, like the cheapness of the visuals. There's lots of complaints about it, but the entire point of the movie is actually in a quote at the end of the movie that shows up.
I
that
know.
says something like, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's something like the. What was it exactly?
I know
I know
why
what you're trying
you
to
and
say.
Allison love the movie, and I can see that it is a very you and Allison movie. And that's nothing to speak to your taste, that is speaking to you as people.
Sure.
No, like really though. Like I do
that's
think
fine.
it's like the themes involved in that movie are very you and Allison.
That's true.
Sure.
That is very true. Also, it's super our taste.
I also like I get hated on for liking La La Land, but like
No one hates on you for liking
You
La La
do.
Land. No, I just don't like the movie that much. I don't even dislike La La Land. My only thing is I didn't like it as much as everyone said, and I've literally never hated on you for liking La La Land.
I feel the hate.
You can't feel the hate. There is no hate there. You're like, I like La La Land, and I'm like, I didn't like that movie as much as everyone did, and you're like, stop persecuting me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, so the quote at the end is it's from actual P.T. Barnum, and it's the noblest art is that of making others happy. And the whole point in the entire
Oh, yeah,
throughout the
that's
whole
right.
movie, he's arguing with the critic about is talking about how everything he's doing is cheap and a facade and not art. And he's like, people leave smiling though, so why does it matter? And the whole movie just embodies that entire philosophy,
critic.
which is something that I personally take into account on my own. Like that is my actual filmmaking philosophy.
I have some
which
bad
is
news, y'all.
This it doesn't like
My phone died in the middle of the
Don't
timer.
worry, I have a timer.
Okay, good.
I
Good.
knew that at some point you would
Good.
fail me.
Yes, this happened.
but yeah, the reason I like The Greatest Showman so much is because it picks a theme and it goes all in on that theme with every single fiber of its being. Every visual aspect, every part of its presentation goes in on, yes, this is technically, like in quotes, this is cheap, this is easy, this is pop, this is like made to entertain you. So what? That is the point. That is what we are here for. We are here to entertain. Why does that make this less art? Because we are here just to make sure you have a good time. That's what the movie's about, and it's what the movie is, and I think that's awesome.
I don't think the movie
'Cause-
is cheap, though.
Well, I
Here
mean,
we are
it's-
now.
it is in the sense
Entertain
that, like,
us.
you've even talked about how, like, the songs in the movie are very, like, pop song-ish. They're not,
Yeah.
like,
They are
they're
pop
not, like,
songs.
artistic musical Broadway
That's
songs.
true. They went a different
it is-
direction.
The direction they go in is, we are going to entertain you in the way that we know works.
But
and
pop
that's
doesn't,
okay.
Pop doesn't inherently mean
No,
less
it does.
skill.
Well,
no,
no, sorry.
doesn't.
It doesn't mean less.
Or
pop
cheaper.
Pop does not push the envelope. Pop
No,
uses
I'll agree with that.
formulas that work because they are entertaining. That is
That's
their point.
true. Okay,
it
I
does not
agree.
make them less valuable.
Okay,
For the
yeah.
same reason, this is the same reason that I think, like, was it Martin Scorsese that had the whole interview recently about how Marvel movies weren't art or whatever? I don't agree with that at all.
Wow, someone should kick him in the shins.
Can entirely be art. It's a different, like, it's movies aren't all the same thing. You can have movies that are just fun to go watch.
Well, I think
I actually
think,
had this talk today with my brother about Marvel
Yeah.
and DC movies.
about whether or
and-
not they're art.
No. But my thought is, every Marvel movie is very competent and very well shot and very well done, and it's a good movie, and I'm never going to argue against it. But that's a little boring. But you know what? DC manages a different train wreck every time they try to make anything.
Sure.
And that's why, like, it's like, am I excited about, like, some new Marvel movie coming up? And I'm like, no. Are you excited about Birds of Prey? Yeah. I'm excited about Birds of Prey. It's just like
Art.
like Aquaman was a completely different train wreck from Batman versus Superman.
I totally feel
and
that.
like Wonder Woman was somehow a competent film, but DC is not going to stop at competent. They're going to throw something else out there to like try something new every time. And Justice League is a completely different hot mess of a movie from anything else they've made. And so like I'm seeing trailers for Birds of Prey and I'm just like, please, like it eventually they have to hit, and I'm going to be in the theaters at the one that hits. But until then, I'm never going to be like not entertained by whatever different awful, like if it's the same awful movie again and again and again, I wouldn't care. But like it's amazingly different every time. Like in Aquaman, nobody is looking at the right place ever. Like they're in a coliseum. They're in a coliseum in Aquaman, and like all the people are clearly in seats above them, and they start fighting. Clearly, establishing shot puts them at the bottom of this coliseum, and then it cuts to the audience, and the audience is all looking up.
What?
Like they don't know. They
You two
don't
just
know where
both-
anybody is.
You guys just both said some of the weirdest things I've ever heard about Marvel movies, which is one, you were quoting somebody else, but you said Marvel movies aren't art, and that's fine. I was once on Reddit and I clicked on an art show video, and
Yeah.
a woman dumped a can of SpaghettiOs over her body.
Yeah,
That was art.
right.
So-
more valuable than a Marvel movie. Apparently.
Go watch that, Martin Scorsese. I guess I don't know.
I hope I got
don't
that.
know
I
what
hope that was the right
point
guy.
that is. I don't know what point that's supposed. It wasn't art. Okay, that's fine. I don't know what you want me to do with that. And then your point was like, Marvel movies are good, but have you ever seen a bad movie?
I know.
Well, okay, no. Here, I have
point's
I
a,
get
different.
what you're saying.
I do get what you're saying because I have the same opinion on Suicide Squad. You showed me Suicide Squad, and it wasn't like it was a mess, but I loved it.
It was so
because
good.
I would,
doesn't work.
It
None
doesn't
of it
work,
works.
But I would watch
That's not
somebody.
true.
I would watch somebody risk everything to make something that unique and fall on their face every time.
Exactly.
Rather than watch somebody play it safe.
I don't think any of the other DC movies even remotely compare to
I don't think
Suicide
that's. I
Squad.
think most DC movies are actually just probably not great. But
Yeah.
I
No,
also,
they're not.
I
They're
also
all
think
differently not great.
I also think like just like enjoy everything that people have put effort into. Kind of like I think it's the only time I can't appreciate something is if I can tell the people who made it didn't appreciate it. I think
Yeah.
Suicide Squad. They had
love
it. They
Suicide
knew what they wanted
Squad.
to do, and they tried their best to do it.
Suicide Squad
and
is
I
so
think,
good.
I feel the same way about Greatest Showman. They knew what they wanted to do. They tried their damn hardest to do it.
Okay, so
on another just a similar category, Man of Steel, I could not stand because it was so obvious that the people making it were embarrassed to be making a Superman movie that it was just. It just
Yeah.
hurt to watch it.
So, okay, I love Suicide Squad and I love The Greatest Showman for totally different reasons. Not because one is bad. The Greatest Showman is just objectively amazing. Suicide
yeah, I would
Squad
agree with
is
that.
my taste.
Sure.
And that's different. So I can argue, like, if people are like, I don't like Suicide Squad because this, I'm like, totally get that. You probably wouldn't like my photography or my art or the things that I'm into. That's cool, you do you, fam. But The Greatest Showman was objectively great. Suicide Squad had it probably had some issues, but it pandered to me so well
Yeah.
that I just don't even care.
I mean, I
Such
guess
a good
subjective opinion
movie.
Are you
plays
the
into
Hot
it
Topic
somehow.
youth?
Huh?
The Hot Topic youth.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh, hell yeah, I'm in.
Watching Suicide Squad was like
The aesthetic was so close. They were so. It was
the Hot
so,
Topic. Oh, it
no,
was
just
it was
everything.
amazing.
Like
it was so good. The aesthetic of that movie is actually phenomenal. Like of all the things to complain about, the visuals of that movie are amazing.
I
it
really liked
looks
the-
like a video game the whole time, like a big cinematic video game, and it's fantastic.
as weird as this sounds, there's like the new Harley Quinn from Suicide Squad, and now looking like to be a similar Harley Quinn in Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
Has a lot of like neon powder, like dust
Yeah.
associated with her a lot. Like
Yeah, that's
Her
true.
explosions are very like colored smoke,
Yeah.
and Kesha did a lot of that in like
True,
her music
yeah.
videos, she like had like clouds of just like glitter and colored smoke around her all
This
the
is
time.
my aesthetic.
And it's an aesthetic I can really get into.
Yeah. No, it's great.
Like the like neon green smoke. It also like all those colors sort of like come into like the sugar skull aesthetic that I really like already.
yeah.
Like all the bright like neon pastel colors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do love the aesthetic, and I
Love
am
the aesthetic.
legitimately excited for Birds of Prey.
You know what? I hate Harley Quinn. She was the worst part of Suicide Squad, and she's the worst part of superheroes, honestly. Joker's the worst part. She's the second worst part of pretty much every superhero. But I really kind of want to see Birds of Prey. I just don't think I could listen to her talk that long. Like genuinely, I'm like, wow, Margot
Yeah.
Robbie can act well. And then she just opens her mouth as Harley Quinn, and I'm like, she's doing so well that I don't want this. I don't want to listen. Like, Harley
Yeah.
Quinn could have been fixed. And they did, I would say, like, they did, like, 60% of the work. And then they just dropped it off. We're like, well, let's leave all the things anyway.
Also, Joker, which did well and had good reviews, and I liked the movie.
Is that DC?
It is.
Okay, yeah.
And, like, that movie is so different from any other DC movie because
Yeah.
it's almost a real movie.
Right.
Like, no, but, like, not like, I mean, like, it's almost like just not a comic movie.
No, yeah.
Objectively, removing the comic book elements
It does feel
would
almost like
make the movie better.
Yeah, it feels like an Oscar baity movie almost, even
Yeah.
without that. Which is
I mean, it's gonna.
interesting.
Didn't he win all
get
the
into that.
Oscars?
We'll get that into the next. That's the topic of the
I think
next.
Oh,
one.
okay.
he won the Oscar for
Did
Best
they
Actor.
do
There's
one?
no
They haven't done
Oscars yet.
Oh, whatever
The
you
Golden
win.
Globe.
Oh, he won the
happened.
Golden
He won the Golden
Globe.
Globe.
Oh, here's me giving a shit about all the different award shows.
Man, we're gonna have fun in the next half hour.
We already did an award show podcast.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, it was the last Soups All Tangents. We talked about award shows.
Oh.
No, yeah, you did. 'cause
So
Ian-
let's get our
Ian
Oscar
told me.
talk out now.
Ian told me. And
I hate the
I didn't get to- The
Oscars.
Oscars are entirely pointless.
we
They mean
really did
nothing
do a
at
whole
all.
podcast.
Okay, all right,
on it,
fair enough. But no, like that movie is like almost a real good like character study movie about this like insane person.
Yeah.
And God, he deserves every award. Like, look at those ribs. That poor boy ate nothing for years.
Oh my goodness. This is me complaining about feminist issues because turns out everything is a feminist issue. But while you guys enjoy Joker, I'm going to go pretend that I can have any fun watching Black Widow's new trash of a movie where I'm supposed to be like, yeah, I like this superhero when no one has ever liked that superhero. So they're like,
Once again,
I
I
know,
said-
we'll make Black Widow in her own movie like Joker, except worse because they're all bad. All the ones with women are bad.
No.
We'll make Birds of Prey, Wonder
Yes.
Woman, and Captain Marvel, and then we'll make Black Widows. Someone will like that one. This was the right way to go. We did Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel. And now I know what the women want. They want more Scarlett Johansson as the worst character she's ever done and also everyone's least favorite Avenger, and give her own movie so we can all sit through it and pretend like it's interesting because it's full of Russian girls.
And they're not going to take any risks on it because it's a Marvel movie. It's going to be very competently shot, like all the other Marvel movies. But you know what? Anything could happen in Birds of Prey. Literal, actual anything.
That's why Suicide Squad is
They
good.
could
Fair.
CGI Joaquin Phoenix into a scene. You don't know that they won't. They might.
Literally the most inspiring woman in Marvel movies is Hela.
Oh yeah, she's pretty. Well, that's honestly, I would say Ragnarok's probably one of the best ones, specifically because it goes a little bit off the rails compared to most of the other.
Is that the
ones.
one she's in?
Ragnarok
Yeah.
is
Okay,
too
there's-
good for Marvel.
Ragnarok is amazing.
Like, this thing is like, it's like Guardians 1 took so many risks and was so good. Not saying Guardians 2 wasn't good, but it didn't feel as risky.
Yeah, I have different problems with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but I won't get into those right now because they're
Yeah,
long.
that's totally fair. No,
But,
we didn't like Guardians of the
but I
Galaxy
actually
2.
understand what
Did
you're-
we walk out? No, we finished it.
No,
finished
we
it.
watched
yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they weren't unwatchable. I just
Have
had
you walked out of movies? What movies have you walked
We've
out
only
of?
walked
Only
out
one.
of one movie.
Kingsman 2. It was so.
That's probably a decent movie to walk out
Yeah.
on.
It was.
I-
have you seen it?
I like it.
Well, you were also
Okay, so
you were feeling sick at the same time. So like at
It
that
didn't
point,
make it feel better.
no, yeah, like you were already
But
feeling sick,
we
and then
love
the movie got
Kingsman
so
1.
bad.
I love
Like
Kingsman 1.
we are huge fans of the first Kingsman, and then we
Yeah.
watched Kingsman. We got 10 minutes into Kingsman 2, and the whole time we kept going, no, they're not going to do that, and then they do that, and then they're not going to do, and then they do that, and then.
If your favorite part of the movie was the final joke from the first movie,
Boy, are you
haha,
in
he
luck.
sleeps with her.
right?
Aha.
Then the entire second movie is only that
Oh my
that
God.
humor
It's
for
so
2 hours,
horrible.
and none of the other things that made the first movie any good at all.
The only movie I've ever walked out on is 12-year-old me, 13-year-old me, which is not a good age to see this movie. I don't know if any age is, but 13-year-old me walking out of Passion of the Christ. was,
I'm pretty sure that means you're going to hell.
no. I think it means probably the opposite.
Did I see Boyhood with you?
No, I saw that separately.
I almost walked out of Boyhood.
Boy, it was trash.
It was the most boring movie I've ever seen in my
Nothing
entire
happened.
life.
It wasn't a good movie.
It was so
Hot takes.
boring.
Life happened. Life happened.
Yeah, so what?
It didn't even happen good. It was just
The
a
gimmick of
boring
that movie is so good.
Yeah, the idea is fantastic.
That's
It is
all
a
it
gimmick.
It's
It
just
is
a
a gimmick.
gimmick.
The
It
idea-
won awards off of a gimmick.
Off of a gimmick.
It's not a good movie.
I will stand up for the gimmick
It is
movies.
an interesting gimmick, and
Yeah.
it could have been. Imagine though if that gimmick had been used on a good story, then it would have blown everybody out of the water.
It would have.
Instead, it was just an interesting sideshow.
I'm
That's
like,
all it was.
It was
It's
really
just the whole
good.
time I'm like, is something gonna happen? And then 3.5 fucking hours later, literally nothing happened except, he's
Well,
older.
If you've heard how they made the movie, it literally was just the director going like, "What if we made this movie where we film it over 12 years and use the same actors?" And that was all the planning they did.
Yep, it's true.
They just
And
they
it's a
cast it.
great
They
gimmick
filmed some
of a
scenes.
movie.
That's just it though.
And then every 2 years they got the group back together and like, we're gonna film some more. And
I
then-
also
It's a
like
great
the-
idea, but it doesn't mean it was well executed.
well, yeah,
I
because
don't-
there wasn't a story.
I
There was
also
no
like
there
script.
wasn't
the
a song.
No one wrote anything.
the so the movie ends
It's
with
just
the
not
main
good.
character dying.
With the what?
The movie ends with the main character dying.
Does he die?
And what?
I mean, because the last thing they do is
Boyhood?
the last thing they do on camera is take mushrooms and wander into Big Bend.
Is that the last thing they do?
I'm not against
That's right.
mushrooms,
That's how you
but
die.
that's his first.
And then the movie ends.
It's
Yeah, I
his
guess.
first time on mushrooms, and they're walking into Big Bend. That kid is dead. That's
why
why
the
the
movie
movie stops.
The movie is so bad. I almost walked out of Boyhood just because like it was like 30 minutes and I'm like it'll pick up pace.
I
An
almost
hour and I'm
walked
like
out of-
it'll do something. An hour and a half later I'm like I've made a mistake. 2 hours later I'm like I should go. 1 hour later I'm like holy crap I stayed
Yeah.
for 3 hours.
I
of
almost
nothing.
walked out of the Lone Ranger,
I never got
Is
to
that the
see
Johnny
that
Depp
one.
one?
the Johnny.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about that honestly. I haven't heard good or bad things. He's in makeup, right? It's white. He's on a train.
So Johnny Depp was in it, and there wasn't a sequel.
Yeah.
So that might tell you all you need to know about
I
it.
just know that
I,
he's a man on a train.
Yeah, Johnny
I-
Depp plays a Native American.
Yeah.
Oh.
I love
Yeah.
westerns. I adore.
It's a western?
westerns.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Lone Ranger.
Oh.
Based off of like some old.
It was an old
yeah.
TV show. It also had a Native American.
Yes.
It probably was not sensitive at the time either.
But I love westerns, and this movie is barely a western and barely a movie.
I hate
That
westerns.
was actually so basically Lone Ranger was movie executives looking at Pirates of the Caribbean and Alice in Wonderland and going, when you put Johnny Depp in makeup, we get money.
I hate
There's a
westerns
Jungle
so
Cruise
much.
movie coming out
Westerns are not
this
popular
year.
as a genre.
No, but that's because they're bad.
There's a Jungle Cruise movie?
Yeah, based on the ride. It's got Dwayne the Rock Johnson in it.
Oh my God.
So I've already
Wait,
bought
he's
8
already
tickets.
in that. It's called Jumanji, and it's pretty decent, actually.
Anyways, I already
Jumanji was
bought.
great.
Yeah.
They made a sequel. I don't know if it was good or not.
Actually, I would
Probably
say I haven't seen the newest one, but Jumanji is my go-to example on how to use nostalgia as a way to revive a series correctly.
I don't think there's any nostalgia in that movie.
No, they do it. Well, they do it perfectly. It's a new movie. It's a new genre. It's a new story. It actually doesn't have anything to do with the previous one, but it respectfully pays homage to it the entire time because they
That's
find the
true.
original characters camp, and it starts
True.
where the last one ends off, but then it turns into a different
That's a
movie.
good point.
They
I
do it
just-
very well.
I wouldn't really
Well-
call it nostalgia. I would call it like
Well, it's part of
shock
the,
marketing. We'll call it Jumanji.
Well, it's the nostalgia marketing. It's the put a name on it that the people liked back in the '80s, so that they'll come watch the new one. It's the same reason that
I
they
guess.
remade.
I mean, but people went and
all-female
watched Aladdin
Ghostbusters
because of
and-
nostalgia. Jumanji was a different movie, so it wasn't like.
But people didn't know that.
But it wasn't. I mean, they did because it was Dwayne The Rock Johnson and Jack Black.
Right,
As
but
a teenage
that's why
girl.
you put the name on it, because that's gonna sell. If it's just Jungle Movie with
I
Dwayne
understand
The Rock
the marketing
Well,
tactic. I
that's
wouldn't.
our time
Oh my
today.
goodness.
So I guess what we learned today is that the best topic is that risky nostalgia sells Dwayne The Rock Johnson tickets.